Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video at my YouTube channel and blog. That cute little froggy there is the focal image of our card for today. It is one of the Quality Crafts illustrations by Jen Evers, and I will have links to all those in the video description below. And this month's challenge is to do a card with the cute little frog. So I decided to Copic color him. I printed him off on some Nina 80-pound solar white cardstock, and I'm using some kind of limey greens to color him. It's the YG 2123 and 25, and then for his eyes I'm going to use the B05 and 06, and for his tongue I'm using the R01 and 02. So not a whole lot, and I'll be using my colorless blender. So not a whole lot of colors to give this cute little guy a really great look. When I started with my lightest color and I mapped in my shadows, and then I went with my medium shade color and flicked in the color over where I had laid out the shadows, and then a very smaller flicks with the darkest, and then I went back to the medium, and then I blended it all out with the lighter shade, and just working in a few areas at a time so everything stays nice and wet and everything blends easily. There is quite a big jump between the 2-1 and 2-3, so sometimes I do have to do the tip to tip technique to kind of get that medium shade going and get that perfect blend in there. And just doing his little eyes now, and I just filled in his mouth and his little nostrils with the darkest color, the 2-5. So now here I am with the tongue, and I just do the overall color with the 01 and then put in some shadow detail with the 02. I got off screen with the eyes, so I just decided to cut that out. I'm doing some little dot pattern in his belly with just a colorless blender. And that's it for our little froggy. Okay, so now I decided to leave this in here. You know, everybody struggles with, you know, layouts and what to do and everything. And I had an idea of I wanted the froggy to look like he was in the water, but the sun radiating down. And so I have this MFT stencil that is radiating rays, and then that other stencil I showed you. It's Endless Swirls by TCW. And so I thought that the swirls would give it the look of waves, but I got finished with it. Oh, and I did that on Bristol cardstock too, so the distress inks blend real easily on the Bristol because it's a vellum coating to it. But I didn't love it. And so I thought and thought and thought. This card actually took me 2 days to make because I couldn't figure out what background I wanted to use for the frog. So like I said, I didn't love it, but I wanted to leave it in here so you can see that everybody struggles with what to do and how to lay things out. Okay, so I decided to use some Strathmore watercolor paper and do some ink smushing with my Distress Oxide inks. So I just used my Distress sprayer to put some water droplets and get it activated to get it going, and then I just start smushing in there. Once I get one layer done, I dry it, and then I do another layer, because if you don't dry it in between, then it's just going to all smush together, and you're not going to get the layered look that you can get when using the oxides. And so I wanted a little bit more blue after I got it done, fill in some of the little gap areas, so I just put some blue down. I'll have all the colors and everything listed in the video description below or over on my blog. I also decided to do some flicking to get some more splatter just off of the acrylic block with the same colors. I did want to go ahead and add my radiating rays for my sunshine. But this is a lot of stuff I used on this card, so it may be too much for the video description below, so probably everything will be over on my blog. So to make the edge of the card stand out, I decided to put a layer underneath it with some gold, but I just wanted to do some gold embossing, so I just ran my Versamark ink pad around the edge and then coated it in the Princess Gold embossing powder by Ranger. And so since this watercolor panel was a bit warpy and everything, I decided to use foam tape because that's nice and strong adhesive, and then it just also gives the card a little bit more dimension too. And so I rub it down really good with my bone folder before I take off the liner, and then just line it up on my piece of gold trim paper that I made. And so I'm going to use the Hello die as one of the scripty dies from Lawn Fawn. And then out of the stamp set, something messages by Simon. Like I said, I'll have everything linked. And over on my blog, it's all picture linked, so it's much easier to see and everything. I'm using the phrase, "Hey, what you doing?" And I gold embossed that too. This is some Simon banana cardstock, I believe. And I'm just cutting a couple of those hellos out, and I'm going to stack them just so it's a little bit thicker and has some dimension to it. I'll just hold it with my tweezers and put some little dots of this Zig two-way glue pen down. I find that's pretty easy to use with die cuts like this because you can just get a little drop of ink out and just dab little drops around, and it's not a big mess. So just trim down that piece of black, and I'll have that hello setting on the other end. And I'm just using some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive for this. Liquid adhesive I felt would do better on top of the watercolor paper. But I am using the two-way glue pen because it is going to be mostly on the black cardstock, but I'm holding it down with an acrylic block just till it sets up and dries. And then I'm also going to add foam, this is 3M foam, to the back of my little froggy, just to pop him up and give him some dimension too. So this does take me a while. I fiddle with it and cut a bunch of little skinny pieces. I do have some thin Doris strips somewhere, but I couldn't think of where I had them in my craft room, so I just cut down all these foam off of my big roll of 3M foam. And peel off all the little liners, which takes a minute, and get that stuck down. This is a puffy sticker set by Amy Tangerine, and it's the Sunshine and Good Times. I got this in the last Simon Says card kit, and I decided to take the little bees out of there and put them on the little frog's tongue and one flying about. And then this is the sequin mix that was in the last card kit too, and I believe it's called Summer Gold. And it's got some really pretty yellows and oranges, and then some clears and translucent, some kind of silvery ones and stuff. So I just thought that would be a really pretty mix and go really well. I'm going to coat the eyes and the hello and the sun rays with the Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen. And just to give the little card a little bit of sparkle and shine. And I think I coat my little bees too. And then I'm going to take glossy accents and put a nice little layer over the eyes and put a little drop inside of each one of the sequins. That'll keep them good and stuck down. And that pretty much does it for the outside of the card. Now for the inside of the card, I'm just going to take another one of the sentiments from that same stamp set, and it's I'm Thinking About You. I just thought that went really well with "Hey, what you doing?" and just letting somebody know you're thinking about them. I decided to use some score tape. I didn't want any dimension on the inside, so I didn't want to use foam tape, but score tape is very sticky, works well with on the back of the textured watercolor cardstock too, because that was a piece I cut off from my outside piece that I made. And so since I had this out, and this is a pretty heavy card front, I decided to go ahead and use score tape on this to put the card front to the card base. And you saw me again, always mash down your adhesive really well. Adhesive's pressure sensitive. And this will complete my card for today. So here's a couple of final looks at the card. Please see all the links below for quality crafts and all the other products used in this video. Thanks for watching.